Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Surviving Mars here on the Wooden Otter. For now, we're continuing our highlight reel format to trim the hours of gameplay down to just the good bits. So let me know down in the comments if you like this format. Today we've got a lot going on in our colony, from stabilizing our food supply to researching some key breakthroughs to trying to keep our population growing. We've got our work cut out for us, so let's jump right into the deep end of the red planet with some Surviving Mars. So now it's Sol 36, and lo and behold, I noticed that my population is now 15. And sure enough, I check my colonist roster, and I have a new Martian-born child named Max Deetoo. He'll end up staying with me for a long time, and I am, at this point, extremely excited. Because by keeping my comfort buildings, my service buildings fully staffed whenever possible, and keeping the comfort nice and high in my dome, I'm able to start having babies. That's the name of the game. So here I am doing a little mental math on the outputs for the ranch, and I'm just figuring out that turkeys are in fact the most food per soul. So I'm setting up my ranch to do nothing but turkeys, and then I'm rolling over to my fungal farm and shutting it down, because there's no reason to subject my citizens to working outside and messing up their sanity when I have a ranch indoors and I can crank food out that way. So here we are, Sol 38, and sure enough, my colonists are beginning to starve. This is because I stopped everyone from working at the fungal farm a bit prematurely. The first group of turkeys, the first crop, if you will, of turkeys has not yet come in, and we haven't received any food from the fungal farm for a bit. So people are going to starve for, I think, 2 souls at this point. Before we start getting turkeys, so it's an oversight on my part, and really it's a problem because it starts affecting their sanity, and that is a precious thing to protect at this early stage of the game. So Sol 39 rolls around, and lo and behold, a breakthrough pops up on my research tree. It is Project Phoenix. When a colonist dies, there's a 50% chance he or she is reconstructed as youth with the same traits. So that's awesome, and it actually, I think, saves this run through of the colony, because I end up not losing too many colonists to old age. It's really beneficial all the way down the row, all the way into the future with this colony. I end up reconstructing a whole bunch of colonists and just keep right on going. Project Phoenix rocks. So on Sol 40, I actually had a colonist die due to starvation. Stilgar Sirius had a chronic condition which caused him to lose health anyway, and then top it off with starvation, which took 54 health every day off of him. Yeah, he was doomed pretty much from the get-go, and sure enough, starved to death right before my very eyes. He will be missed. Sol 41, I end up losing another colonist due to starvation. Plan your food sources carefully, kids, because starvation's no joke. So I finally managed to pull in a crop of turkeys and create some food. So miraculously, no more of my colonists starved to death. Thank God. The real detriment to colonists dying for any reason is, I mean, obviously the loss of the colonist is devastating, but then the sanity loss on the other colonists really starts wearing your colony down, where especially if you have more than one death, and the sanity for everyone else basically gets hit with a negative 30, because it's each dead colonist imposes a minus 15 sanity on the other colonists. So having multiple deaths in your colony, really not good for everyone else's sanity and morale. Of course, it had to happen eventually, where one of our colonists had a mental breakdown. This cold snap that we're currently in the middle of certainly didn't help, and Max Deetoo, one of my first Martian-borns here on the planet, has the coward trait, so his sanity was in the dumpster anyway, from being cold, and from starving, and from mourning the death of other colonists. So he was ripe for a mental breakdown anyway, and sure enough, it got a little chilly, and old Max couldn't take it. So, he'll recover though, so don't worry. So here I get the event Cure for Cancer, which unlocks a research option under the breakthrough tree. I don't know off the top of my head what this actually ends up getting for me, but I undertake it just after I finish Project Phoenix. So that's how I set up my research. I prioritize Project Phoenix so that I hopefully mitigate any of the deaths of my colonists. First things first, keep my colonists' population up high. So at this point in my colony development, I start to think that I want to start to have babies in my second triangular dome. So I demolish this pond and I place an infirmary, thinking that that's going to make the comfort threshold low enough that I'll be able to have babies in 2 different domes. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. My population is still at a point where I can't really afford to staff 2 infirmaries. I can barely afford to fully staff 1 infirmary, if I'm completely honest. So the name of the game right now, even though I don't realize it yet, the name of the game right now is make sure that all of your service buildings are staffed fully at all times, except at night in most cases, because the people working at night end up going insane. But yeah, prioritize staffing your service buildings, because if you need babies, you got to keep your service buildings populated so that way your colonists are comfortable. Keep them comfortable and they'll have babies. So, and there's a few other measures that we undertake soon that help with that as well. So this is one of my favorite breakthrough technologies. I think it's the second highest contributor to the success of my colony, and it is the Extractor AI breakthrough, which allows extractors to work at 50% or 50 productivity without having anyone in them, which is crazy when you think about it. Crazy overpowered technology. It basically means you can throw down extractors on rare metals, don't staff them at all, and just constantly export rare metals in order to buy things that you need. And frankly, I do that multiple times in this playthrough moving forward, because I research the hell out of this breakthrough. Throw down, I do exactly what I just described. I research this breakthrough, I throw down a rare metals extractor, I set up a trade route with one of my rockets, bing bang boom, I get money every few souls, and I order things when I need them. I order mechanical parts, I order electrical components. You can't order food, obviously, because it is the hardest difficulty playthrough, but exporting rare metals is awesome. And the Extractor AI allows you to do that without staffing the extractor. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Another thing to keep in mind with a second infirmary currently being in this tridome is this is a really bad setup for having babies. This is not the way you should do things. Here's the problem. There's two problems here. One, I have two different housing developments. They're both the same, but they're in separate domes, and colonists will only have babies with people in the same dome that they live in. So splitting my population in half, really not good for population growth. The other thing is a little more obvious. 2 infirmaries means you need twice as many people manning them, and when you only have 12 people in your colony, having 4 or 6 people dedicated to infirmaries in order to, spur on baby making, really not the best use of manpower. So yeah, this setup is pretty bad, and I'm pretty sure I abandon it and reconfigure my whole setup at a later point in the playthrough. Not after some damage had been done, though. So at this point, it's apparent to me that having no mechanical parts is going to lead to my colony falling apart. I had researched, or rather, I had sent a rocket on an expedition earlier in the game and received 21 rare metals as a reward. So I ended up sending those rare metals back to Earth in order to purchase what amounted to 30 mechanical parts and a drone, and bring it back because, frankly, we didn't have the manpower to staff our machine parts. And since every time there's a dust storm, I'm relying on a wind turbine for power, that takes a mechanical part. My water source right now is totally reliant on mechanical parts. My concrete production is reliant on mechanical parts. A lot of things in this base at this point are very reliant on mechanical parts. I think even the ranch, the maintenance on the ranch is a mechanical part. So basically the mechanical parts consumption in my base right now is very high, and the production is very low, and I don't have the manpower to up production right now. So I end up using that money that I found, basically, and importing a bunch of mechanical parts to get us over this hump. So it's been a while since the colony's had a birth at this point, but Sol 65 comes, and sure enough, I have another birth, which is great, and it just so happens to coincide with my rocket-carrying machine parts landing. So for now, I have a good stock of mechanical parts, and my colony is technically growing. I'm up to 13 people again. One thing to note here is that I still don't have anyone working on that ranch down in the southern triangle dome, and I only have 32 food, which is not a lot. So we'll see how that affects us at a later time. Alright guys, that'll have to be it for now. We've made a lot of progress in surviving Mars today. We witnessed the birth of a new Martian-born, Max Deetoo, who's going to stick with us for a very long time in our colony. Unfortunately, we also witnessed the starving death of 2 of my colonists. They will be missed. We got our ranch up and running, and we researched 2 really key breakthroughs, Project Phoenix and the Extractor AI, as well as how not to set up your domes for effective childbirth. All good information to have, especially how not to set up your dome. As always, please like and subscribe below, as it really helps out the channel, and I would, of course, appreciate it. Stay tuned to see what the Red Planet has in store for us next time on the Wooden Otter. Peace!